Maker, this is Claire from Claire Makery, and today I am going to be showing you how to make my Velvet Bobble Christmas tree pattern. This is a really fun pattern that's inspired by vintage ceramic trees and bottle brush trees. I took all my favorite parts of the vintage from the velvet to the pastel colored ornament baubles that I have on here. You are going to want to make a ton of these trees, and they would be great for markets or to give as gifts, and I have a couple different sizes available in this pattern. If you want all of the sizes, be sure to grab the ad-free PDF below, or you can view this size, which is the medium size, on my blog for free. But if you want to make the mini and the large and the worsted weight versions of this, then grab that PDF. It's discounted and it has all those patterns in it. So to make this design, you're going to need a few different things. So you'll need 3 colors of Bernat velvet yarn. I've got the burgundy plum, a blush pink, and then a coral here. So I'll be making a pink version of this tree for you. If you'll also need a 6.5mm crochet hook and a pair of scissors. And that's all the supplies that you'll need for this. So in my blog post on my blog, I have made this tree in with the pink as the base and this burgundy plum and this coral as the ornaments. So that was the large size that if you've seen that photo. So we're going to be making the medium size with these colors. So we'll set these aside, and I recommend having a light color as your base so that your ornaments will stand out. It just helps showcase them a bit more, and since vintage trees were usually all done in lighter colors, then this is perfect for that. So to begin crocheting, you're going to start with a magic circle, which you create by making this crisscross shape, which turns into parallel lines here on your fingers. Then you'll take your crochet hook, you'll insert it under that first strand of yarn and hook the second one, pull it up and then twist it, and then you'll come back around to hook that second yarn here for a second time and pull it through your loop. Then you'll get this nice little circle with this strand of yarn off to the side, and we are going to be doing single crochets with this pattern. So we will start by single crocheting. We're going to single crochet 6 stitches in this magic circle, so we need 2 more. And you want to make sure that you always crochet over both strands of yarn that are in this magic circle. Then we will pull this strand off to the side here. We'll pull that tight, and sometimes it gets caught when you use the velvet yarn, so just make sure you've got that secure. And then we will start doing 6 single crochets here, and since we're working in continuous rounds on this pattern, I like to make sure that I save my spot with a stitch marker. And so you'll do 2 rounds of single crocheting in each one of these 6 stitches, and this is forming the top part of your tree because we will be working from the top down. Then once you have those 2 rows of 6 stitches, so that'll be 3 total rows that you've done, then we're going to start doing a round of increases. So we'll start by single crocheting 2 in this first stitch here, and then marking our place with a stitch marker, and then we will single crochet 2 in each stitch around. So we'll go like this. We got this, and then once you have those 2 single crochets done in each single crochet around, then we are going to start doing our first round that has baubles. So we will start by single crocheting 1, and then we are going to do a bobble stitch. So bobble stitch is started by yarning over, Then you insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. And then you yarn over again, insert it into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. And then you just keep repeating this until you have, this is a mini bobble that we're going to be doing. So we are only doing 4 loops here. Usually when you do a bobble stitch, you do 6 loops, but this time we are only doing 4 loops on our hook. And then we will pull the yarn through all 4 of those loops. Make sure that you mark your first stitch so you don't lose track. And then you repeat that same pattern of a single crochet bobble, a single crochet, and then a bobble right after that all the way around this round. And once you finish that first round with the bobbles, you will have 6 bobbles on this round. And then it's time to go to do the next couple increases before we add our first ornament row. So you'll do a round of single crochets, so that'll be 12 single crochets, and then the row after that is an increase row, followed by another round of single crochets only until we get to the ornament round. So go ahead and do those rounds, and then I'll show you how we do the ornament bobbles on here. Okay, so now that we have done those 3 rounds after the bobble round, it's time to do the second bobble round with the second color of yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one as burgundy plum. So this will be having this yarn ready to use, and we're going to be repeating the bobble row up here, except instead of doing 1 single crochet and then a bobble, we are going to do 2 single crochets and then a bobble. That way it gives this round a little bit more of a contrast from the closeness of these bobbles up here. So if you've never done crochet color work where you are doing bobble stitches, it might seem like it's really scary, but don't worry, it's really simple and you'll be able to switch colors really easily if you use my little trick that I have. So we'll start this round by doing 2 single crochets here and marking our first stitch here, and then we are going to not finish this second stitch with the pink yarn. We are going to instead of using the pink yarn to finish it off, we're going to take our burgundy plum yarn here and make sure that end is on the inside of your project, and then you are going to pull that yarn all the way through, and then you will now be able to work with your burgundy plum yarn. And then we'll do one of those mini bobbles that we had, and make sure that your pink yarn is on the inside of your work, and this will keep it out of your way and make it easy to switch back to it. So then we are going to yarn over and do our normal little mini bobble stitch here. But instead of finishing this mini bobble stitch off with the burgundy plum yarn, we are going to move this burgundy plum yarn over here, and we will pick up our pink yarn and finish off the bobble stitch by pulling the pink yarn through all 4 of our loops on that bobble, and then pull that burgundy plum yarn so that it doesn't come out. Make sure that it doesn't come out on this side either. Then you'll do your 2 single crochet stitches and then do the same thing. You finish off your pink stitch, your second stitch, with your burgundy plum yarn, then you do your mini bobble stitch, and then finish the mini bobble stitch off with your pink yarn. Oops, which I made a mistake. This is what you want to avoid. You want to make sure your yarn is on the inside so that it doesn't come out through the front like this. So if that happens, then you'll just take out your bobble stitch here, but don't pull the yarn out quite yet. And then you can just move this pink yarn to be on the inside of your stitch. And then, like I said, you do your normal bobble stitch here and finish it off with the pink. And that is how you do the color changes with your ornament colored yarn. And basically, this is how most of the pattern is made. You've got these rows of the main color where you have the baubles, then just normal rows, and then an ornament bauble thing. So just keep following the pattern as you make these, and then I will show you how we start decreasing it to finish off the Christmas tree. After you finish all of the increase rounds and the bauble rounds, it's time to do the last main part of the Christmas tree, which is to do the decreases. So how you'll be doing the decreases is the normal way for doing decreases on crocheting in the round. And since our last increase row was 4 single crochets and an increase, our first decrease round will be 4 single crochets and a decrease. So we're going to be taking 6 total stitches away from this, and this will be repeated on all of the rounds. And the same, like how we always increase by 1 in terms of how many single crochets we do before an increase. We're going to decrease by 1 every time that we need to do a decrease. So basically just do the decrease rounds on the Christmas tree, making sure to stuff when the pattern indicates it, and then I will show you how to add very last bauble on top. So once you've stuffed your tree and done most of all the decreases, it will look like this. Before I fasten this off, I wanted to show you guys a little trick that I do. If you have a hole like this size at the bottom of your work, one of my favorite little tricks to do is to come across to the stitch, across from where you've ended your round, and then I like to just slip stitch and pull that through, and then that closes up the hole and I don't have to worry about any stuffing coming out or anything coming undone. And then I will just cut my end there and fasten it off, and then I can weave in that end later. So the final step in making this bauble Christmas tree is to add the cute little ornament on the very top of your tree. So I don't start the pattern off with doing a bauble on top, just because it's a little tricky trying to fit that in with the starting rounds on there. So what I like to do instead is we will be adding a bauble on top of there by going through the very top of the tree. So you stick your hook all the way through it. Then you are going to slip stitch your yarn to go all the way through. Make sure that you've got enough of an end left over. And then we are going to chain 2. And then we are going to do a bobble stitch by just going inside of the top here, going in and out of there, till we've got our 4 stitches. And then we will slip stitch through there, and then we will come back down and go through the top, and then we're going to slip stitch through that stitch right there to finish off that bauble. And then you can trim that end, doesn't need to be very long, and then fasten it off, and you're all done crocheting your tree. So then you just weave in all of your ends, and then you are done. Isn't it so pretty? So vintage and so much fun to make. So I hope that you liked this video tutorial. Be sure to check out the free pattern of the medium-sized tree shown here. And if you want to make some of my larger sizes that I have, be sure to grab the ad-free PDF pattern. It's discounted for just $2, so it's super inexpensive, and it's a service I really like to do for my readers, having my PDFs be inexpensive in my shops. So be sure to also subscribe and like this video so I know that you want to see more videos from me. Really helps me out when you do that, and I can't wait for you to make this tree and show it off in your home. Be sure to have a Merry Christmas and a wonderful day. Bye! Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like it below if you enjoyed watching it, and hit the subscribe button if you never want to miss out a video from me, and also check out my other videos and tutorials on my channel. See you next time!